guys. So we got the Mercury back, 67 Mercury. Somebody installed a stereo into it, and apparently the gauges are now not working. So something happened, something got moved. So I'll give you a little tour of this thing, a little more in depth. The engine bay, he's done a couple of things to it. It's a pretty sweet little rig. 67 was also the only year that had the tag right over there on the firewall. After that it didn't, 68 didn't have it. So I have one of each, a 67 Merc and also 68. And the 68s do not have that. There's a cool little story about the 67 I have. I'll tell you guys about it when the time comes. And that one's on the block to get fixed up. So somebody installed a stereo into this thing and somehow blew the fuse or did something to the gauges where it doesn't work. Oh, and now they're working?
I changed the fuse. Oh, blew the fuse again. Something's going on.
Yeah, somebody did something. Fuses worked for a second. This is the raised bed in the truck, but it's still very, very usable. So this used to be, I don't know, I had two tanks. And so this piece right over here, that used to be right in that front corner there. Gas tank. There used to be a hole. I don't know if you can see it. Somewhere around here, there used to be a gas tank filler, and we shortened this box. We're at 15, almost 16 inches. And then just folded the metal back over, and we had to fill that. That's not all of them have that. But instead of getting rid of that piece of metal, we just, Keith put this in here and made the filler. There's also the reset switch. It's underneath there. It's still very, very usable as a tank. It's only, what, 6 inches? And these all had to be rebuilt because they were longer now because it's up because of the wheel well. And then we just painted them, patinaed them to make them look like they belonged. And you can tell there's a piece right in this area that was replaced as it was rotting out. So that had to be put back in. But there's lots of rocks and stuff, and keeping the gate from closing. He lives out in the country. He lives out in the country, so the truck does go country roads. So he wanted a chrome bumper on the back rather than the bumper that initially came with the truck that we put onto it when we first got it. So that was probably 2 summers ago that we put this chrome one on there. It looks pretty good. I really like the other bumper too, but this looks pretty sweet on here. A little bit of chrome everywhere. What's that? Oh,
all they do is take your tire
he's
off
talking on the phone. Yeah, we've replaced basically every windshield in all these trucks. We usually have a cracked windshield of some kind. It's just Just a real sweet patina on this one. Like I said, the grill was almost perfect. There's a couple little dings you can see in it. Probably if you took it off, a guy could bang those out, but you'd have to polish the thing again. And it is pretty close to perfect. I think also the bumper, yeah, the front bumper is also chrome. The original one was white with that big bush guard that was on here. That kept the grill in good shape, so this front bumper has been replaced as well. Yeah, so that's a little tour. We'll go for a drive as soon as we got some of this stuff figured out. I'll show you how it rides. Okay, until the ride. So we got a few other projects on the go. I'll show you around a little bit. We aren't able to work on the M100 today or this week at all. I've been working, Keith's been doing stuff, so I'll show you around here, give you a little tour. Here we got a 1980 Chevy, or 81, something like that. Chevy short box, 4-wheel drive, 1-ton axles. The guy we bought it from backed into a tree and did some damage to it. We fixed it up. Floors and a rocker on the driver's side needed redoing. That's all done. Pretty much a rust-free truck now. Even smells decent. It's 4-speed? Yeah, 4-speed transmission. In pretty decent shape. This one's actually for sale. Haven't had any bites on it, I'm surprised. Maybe one day somebody will want a short box Chevy 4-wheel drive square body. Got the Merc that's currently being worked on. We figured out what the problem was. It was the wiper motor arm broke, and when it broke, it shoved itself right into a wiring harness and shorted out the digital gauges, which are now toast. So we are replacing them with another set. This one hasn't been on the channel yet. This is a My 62 unibody. It's on a 95 Crown Victoria chassis. It's gonna be on the channel soon. I've done a lot of work to it. It probably doesn't need all that much to get back on the road. Here is the chassis for that one. I think this is a 37, if I'm right. So this is something that just came in. We're gonna do it for a customer. This one's gonna lay right on top of that chassis S10. It's a nice old truck. This thing used to sit at a car wash right in the community here in Morton, Manitoba. Oh, that door won't open. I'll go to the other side. I know that side does. I'll have to go around. Truck. So the M1 might take a little back seat for a little while because these projects pay, and we didn't have a customer vehicle at the time, so that's why the M100 went into the shop. There's more, way more. Here we got a 1967, wrong tailgate. And this one's a Ford tailgate. It's for the 73 and up model. We do have the right tailgate for this one. This is a 67 Mercury. This is Keith's truck. This one we have plans for as well. It's got a little rust, but here from where we're from, you ain't getting away from it. There ain't too many of these that don't have rust. So we got everything we need to put this back together. It's just gonna take a little time. Like I say, we got more Merc stuff on the way. This is the chassis for the M100. Hasn't moved since we put it here. That truck over there, we were pulling the engine and tranny, and that one's gonna be gone, sold. We got two 60 Impalas, I believe. These are all the Mordor kind. Pretty sweet little cars. One is a builder, one is probably more parts rig. I don't know what the plan is for that. These things are all up in the air. This one's an F250, I believe. 63, I believe, because it's got the wrong box on it. So that's, I think, an F250. But this one we purchased from a guy that was working on it. And how do we get this hood open? It's got to be here somewhere. Anyway, it's got a Crown Vic front clip in it already. We just have to tidy it up. Front clip is basically off. That's why it's hanging down. But Raven Black should be a pretty sweet truck once it's done. There's no engine or powertrain, no engine transmission in it right now. But we have a couple of those, 4.6s with automatic transmissions. And this one was a 60, no, I want to say 71 F100. We've already stripped it down. This one was supposed to go onto the block, but we just haven't gotten to it. This one's also going to get a conversion. Here's a parts rig for a 73 and up. And also a 71, 72 model. Yellow. It's a little rough. These ones are a little rougher. Also 71, 72. And the same thing with this one. The grill's out of it, so I can't really tell what it is unless I go start looking at VINs. This is the front clip for the red one. It's sitting over there, 71, 72. This is actually a Merc cab. It's blue. I've wanted a blue one. It's hard to find them. I have the rest of it, or most of it. I found a short bed chassis. So this thing was on a chassis, but it was in really bad shape. And this thing's gonna need a little bit of work to go back together. But I do have all the parts. I have new cab mounts, new floors, everything to put this back together. And I'm going more stock like. I got an 8.8 in here already. I don't know if this is going to be the final one that goes in here. I got a couple others. So I want a limited slip, but I do want disc brakes on it. And right next to that is my 70 parts truck. This thing is rough. It has got rust everywhere. May not show it as much, but it's pretty far gone. We will do stuff with it I'm not quite sure what yet, but right now we've been pulling a couple parts off it that we won't be using anyway. And we got this 60s hauler dump box. It's a pretty cool little truck. Not sure what we're doing with that yet. This is Keith's daily rig, well, for his job. This is one of the trucks he uses to haul whatever he needs to haul. Right now, I believe there is garbage in it. Pretty much. He's taking it away. And here we got a 64, 65. Something like that. It's a Mercury. And this one, although it looks rough, it's not even that bad. It is actually pretty decent shape, rust-wise. Something we can easily work with. And that is the plan on this one. We're going to put this thing back on the road one day. It's in line. And this is we got this truck at the same time. This one's quite a bit rougher. We were thinking parts with this one. And then whenever we can find them, we pick them up. So this was a cab we picked up for just a little bit. This is actually the frame for my Merc. 67 Merc. I still have the box on it in the back here. Some of the parts that are from it. The box floor is toast in this one. I'm gonna have to find another box floor for that. Then we have a 68 or 69. I think this is a 68 Merc. Soapbox, I think they call them, or something like that. Shoebox, I don't know. They're sweet looking trucks. I'd love to put this one back together too, but this one is also pretty rough. Probably be able to sell some parts on it. This we bought as a partial project. This one is early 50s International, and it's already on a Dodge Dakota chassis, so it's got a lot of the modern stuff. Even the steering's hooked up. This is another project. We have quite a few of them. Some projects come and some projects go. Some sell before we even get to them. This was one we picked up, possibly just a parts rig. It was a short box, so it's actually a short box frame, but it is a real short box. It is actually shorter than the Crown Vic wheelbase. I think it's 112, something like that. It's about 4 inches, a bit too short. And this is my 68 Merc. She's a little rough, but it's a Mercury. And I got all the parts to put it back together as well. And that is the plan. Actually, I have a chassis possibly for it. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that's in an upcoming episode. This is a 63 grill. I think 63. 60. Or is it 61? I'm not sure. This cab is really nice shape. This one doesn't have any rust on it. An older guy used it as on a bigger frame, and he used it as a welding truck. I don't know if you can't really read what it says on the side of the door, but at one time was a fire truck, I believe, and then turned into a welding truck. And we just pulled a cab. Cab is really nice. We'll use it for something at some point. We got a few chassis around here, and then some of the Not gonna do much with that. That's more parts rig. Same with this. It's rough. It's got rust everywhere. But we salvage parts however we can. Here we have another Chevy, full-size Chevy. This one we'd like to make into a hauler of some kind. But like all those things, we'll do it if we ever have time. And if it sells, it sells. We got the Mercury right over here. It's a 56 Ford Mercury. It was a big truck, but the cab is pretty decent. It's gonna need some straightening. A little rough. We actually talked to the guy that used to own the truck. He was here for something totally different, and then recognized the hood and back of the 67 Mercury, the green one up front there. And took a look at the cab and said, yep, that's the one he used to have. So here's an old Pontiac Parisienne. This also has plans, but quarters are pretty gone. I know Keith wants to drive this one. I don't blame him. It's pretty cool lines. I like it. And we have a bunch of these internationals. Keith has a bunch of the internationals. They don't really interest me too much, but we got a few of them. And then we got the Regals. These are both turbo cars, and they both are supposed to run. We haven't had them running yet, but we pulled them out of a yard. One's a T-top, this is the T-top, and this was the rough one. This one's pretty rough, but this one was a lot better, but still I mean, all the plastics in these cars, these G-bodies weren't made the best. That's still a pretty cool car. Yeah, turbo 3.8. Then we come here, so we buy lots of things that we find. We have this box here. Who knows what we use it for, but I mean, when we find them, we pick them up. Because you never know. And if we make a few bucks on it, selling it, because somebody wants one, yeah, we'll do that. And here is a lot of these are the shoe boxes, the shoebox Fords, right? And there's quite a few of them here. Keith actually has a 1950-51 that he's all done up. It used to be a 4-door. He's chopped it. He's made it a 2-door. It's quite the car. We'll have to do some video on that one day. This is my truck. It's Cummins diesel. This is going into a project as well. Body is shot on it. I don't know about the frame or any of the brakes. I don't plan to use the chassis. That wasn't my plan. I want to keep the truck stock. I have we'll go see it yet. It's a 1970 4-door Ford. But that Cummins is supposed to go into there. This is the 2-door. Also very, very rough. It doesn't have any rockers left. The bottom 12 inches are pretty gone on this one. A Meteor, 2 of them actually. Or what's this one called? This is a mainline. Then we have a Buick back there. This one's got the, I don't know, nail head engine. So it still turns over. We gotta see if we can get this one going. Paint was flaking off when we bought it. We often, if we find these guys, we pick them up because they hold parts, all sorts of parts. This one happens to hold columns and seats. Got lots of those. Never know when you need them. Square bodies. Keith has a few square bodies. I think some of them are gone already. We've got some empty holes here, but we sell parts. This one still has the diesel in it, but the transmission, I believe, is gone. Yeah, this is that one. This is pretty rough as well. We have a Mordor Nova. Basically a parts rig. I keep on bugging them that we need to pull the front clip out of this one. Something we could use on something. An old Fargo van. Really neat van. It's also hiding parts. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Not my era cars. Some more internationals. This red one is pretty neat. This must have been something. It was a conversion because it's 4-wheel drive. And it looks like it's original. The guy that we bought it from actually pulled the motor, pulled the transmission. This one's got a divorce transfer case. And he was gonna put a LS in here. Problem is where the diff sits. On the GM transmissions, I believe the input shaft for the transmissions on the other side. We would have to get a motor that would fit up to the transfer case. This divorced one to make it work. We may try that yet. This is a pretty cool rig, probably a little rare. And we've got lots of parts to make it work. Here we have another international, early 50s. This one's pretty cool. It has the Gulf decals on the side. I think this other side, you can see a little more of it. Another Chevy. This one, a lot of work's been done to it. I don't know how well. But it's got a lot of work to it. We're not sure what we're doing with that. It is sitting on a chassis already, short bed chassis. And this is my 47 Ford. I guess mine keys. It's a 1-ton. Apparently they're a little rarer than the half tons, but I don't know what we'll do with that. I did buy a box for a half ton. See what we can do. And we have a Chevy, 50s Chevy. Also more parts rig. This one, okay, we have a guy around the area that he does some interesting work. This has been fixed. This was actually on the road. He drove this. I don't know how, but he drove this. Especially in Manitoba, it's a little tougher to, oh yeah, door handle doesn't work. You can see some of his wiring. Shifter. Way to keep the glove box closed. It's a little interesting. Oh, door latch on the other side. Check that out. Very nice. I love how he puts his windows in. Now he paints them because those are brush strokes. I have seen this thing on the road and I don't know how he got away with this. It looks like an extension cord reaching up to the light. Same with that side. He made it work, but I don't know how. He said he didn't want to drive down the road anymore. And when we had the tires straight, they were actually both bowed in. So there wasn't much chance I was going to drive, but look at his front lights, signal lights. It's interesting. This one, I believe, is going to be sold as well. Should be out of here soon. We're portion of a box, what we could save of it. Another bump side box over there with a cap on top of it. Also storing some parts. Another box. We just find them and we buy them if we find them. Some more parts rigs, chassis, square body. This one runs and drives, but is a little rough on the rusty side. Another square body. Here's a Ford dually. This one's a 7.3 diesel turbo, and this one's had the upgrade to the CTS turbo. It was a company out of BC that was making these kits for these trucks. This one's a dually. It's got the Chevy box on there now. It's just something I picked up because they were giving it away, so I went to pick it up, and we're just storing it right on here. This may be a chassis we use yet. Another chassis. Body's pretty shot on it, but it runs and drives. Another Ford, pretty rough. And we'll go to the next spot. There's a few of them. So here we have the chassis lineup, along with M100. It's sitting there. It's not in the shop today. So this first one, it's a police interceptor. This one's mine. I plan on using the front clip off of it, and also possibly engine powertrain. This is a Lincoln. We got another police car here. Another police car. There's another Mercury. And this is also a Mercury. M100 is looking all sad here, waiting to go back into the shop. We'll do that as soon as we can. This one's a neat little build here as well. This one's also on a different chassis, short box. It's a 1963 Chevy. We'll be doing some videos on this. We've already done a bunch of work to it already, but we haven't videoed any of it. This should be a pretty neat truck once it's done. We may change it up. This box may not be on this truck. We have another box that's in a little better shape that may go on to this one. We'll see what happens. And then we got the beauty here. This thing's going to BC to Keith's son. The guy that's going to drive it all the way out there for him. Party van with it's got a heater, a diesel heater in the back. It's got this tank on the back of it. You put the diesel in. It's got the diesel heater inside. It's a pretty cool little setup. Another S10. This will be also a chassis we use. The difference between this one, let's see if I can get it open here. Come on. This one already has been swapped. It's a wiring nightmare, but it's already got a 5.3 in it. Runs and drives. This will be a cool little chassis to put under something. We don't have to do the swap to LS because it's already done. Little Monza. Not a whole lot left of this thing. Somebody could make something out of it, I'm sure. We got this guy. This is actually I believe a running and driving car too. We've done a bunch of work. I think the quarter panels, lower skins need to be fixed yet. And the trunk drop-offs. And this thing should be on the road. VW 19, oh shoot. Is it 1954? Something like that. This one, it's old. It's really small inside too. This one's got the signals here on the side. Really interesting. Oh yeah, so that blue box I showed you on the 63 there could be going with this one. So this one might actually take the place on that chassis with the short box, because the colors, we don't have to do any changing of colors. They pretty much match. And this one's pretty rough, where the other cab is really nice. And so it kind of matches. This one will match the box a little better. That's the plan there. This is my 81 Ford short box, 4-wheel drive. And it had bull nose, but it had the step side. I don't know what Ford called it, but flare side, step side, I don't know. This is possibly the chassis I want to use under that 68 Merc. This truck isn't that, cab isn't that great anymore. It's okay, but I think I got it sold. And this is the 70. The 70 Ford. It took a hit. It took a hit on the driver's side right up front here. So the fender, the inner fender, the front rad support, rad cradle, that all needs to be changed, but I have all those parts and they are, this is where the diesel Cummins is supposed to go into. This thing should be quite the truck after it's done. It's dually with fender flares added to it. And that is not original, but it doesn't look too bad. I think I'm gonna keep it exactly that way. I think that'd be a pretty cool truck. Another chassis. I had planned to put the 47 on here. I don't think that's the deal anymore. I think more than likely I'll use the rear end out of it. It still runs and drives, but it burns a lot of oil. Then I got 2-wheel drive Chevy. It's only for powertrain. LS automatic transmission, 2-wheel drive. This is also an LS 2-wheel drive that Keith has. This might be one of where the red cab from the 63 goes onto with a different box. It'll be a long box, but I think it'll be pretty cool. Expedition, another chassis, possibly. The old hearse. This is the box, possibly for the other truck, for the red cab. I'll have to do a little work to it, but I think it has to be chopped down anyway, so a lot of these dents will come out because of that. Another International sitting back here. The 86 Ford that we just did a video on. And we have another van here. Another guy hauling parts. Some more vans. This is Keith's daughter's van, VW. And another van for parts. And that's it, guys. That's what we got. There's a lot. There's a lot of projects Who knows if we get to all of them, but there's always that possibility. So she's all put back together. All of it works. So the issue was the dash gauges wouldn't go on. So if I turn them, it works now. He's got a retro sound stereo in here. Wiper motor's fixed. A wiper arm. Motor was fine, even though it jammed up. Those motors, those old original motors, are way better made than the stuff these days. Well, this thing was stuck. We could smell the motor when we were working on it initially, and now all that smell is gone. So it's back on the road. We'll take it for a cruise real shortly. On here anyway. YouTube doesn't like music. Not the music that's on the radio anyway. Some miles per hour. Could be moving a little bit. Bring this one to the bowl, this next here, this here.
Just line up a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Invite everybody that has them.
Oh, look at that one.
Yep.
That's that guy that worked for TJ.
Another bump side right
right there. I bet you that's those little feet I put onto the box to hold it up.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you they were rubbing just on the frame.
Well, you should be able to see it. Well, that's a little cruise in the 67 Merc. Fun little truck to drive.